Welcome back to AM Northwest. After last week's snow and ice storm, you might be considering a spring getaway to somewhere warmer. Here to share her secrets for getting the most for your money, we welcome travel expert Rachel Rudwall. Yes, Rachel, we are all on board with going somewhere warmer, but not till I want it now. No, I don't want to wait for spring. But let's talk about this. So there are so many people giving advice about when to book your flight. Is that a myth, or is there really a best day, a best time to book airline tickets?
It's a great question. There is very much a myth that the best time to book is Tuesdays at 1 p.m.
Yes.
That myth exists for a reason. It's because when flights were first available to book online, they were released on Tuesdays at 1. There was a set amount of cheap tickets, and once those were purchased, you didn't have a chance for the rest of the week. Now, flights change kind of by the hour in terms of pricing, so it's a day-to-day thing. It's not a perfect day to book. You should think of the perfect window to book.
Okay, so timeline.
Timeline,
so
yeah.
give
If you
that
want to book
me.
a domestic flight,
Okay.
your best chance of finding a cheap fare is 1 to 3 months in advance of your desired travel dates. But if you want to book internationally, you have a slightly longer window, and that's 2 to 8 months in advance. And what that means is you can kind of look for cheap flights in the entire duration of that Goldilocks window, we call it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what happens though, like if you're booking international travel and you book 8 months out and then something changes, what do? Do you lose money?
You can, but nowadays, if you set something like a flight alert that lets you know that the fare is changing on that given route because you want to know if it's gotten lower.
Yes.
Nowadays, since the pandemic began, airlines have lost some of those change fees. So let's say you find that your flight is $150 cheaper because you set a fare alert for yourself. You could contact the airline, you could cancel the original ticket and buy a new one. But you do run some risk that in the time that you're canceling the one and then changing to the new flight, you'll miss that cheaper fare.
Now here's a question about cookies and being tracked online, because I swear the prices went up after I did a search for like going to visit my sister in New York, and I put it in, and then 2 days later it was like $50 higher. What was that all about?
So I don't think that was cookies. I think that was just a matter of a couple days later there were fewer flights
available. A couple
available.
Days later?
I know, it can change hour to hour.
And then you just kick yourself.
Ready to book. Yeah, but here's a hot tip. You have 24 hours to cancel something that you've booked. So if you're like, wow, this is an amazing ticket on this airline, and I don't know if my partner, spouse, friends agree to this, I'm just going to buy it. You have 24 hours to cancel legally.
That is a great
So you can
tip.
act on the cheaper fare.
Okay, now if you were going to, are you taking a trip somewhere soon?
I am, yeah.
Okay, where are you going?
Well, I'm going to be going for a couple work trips to Las Vegas, but I've been eyeing a vacation to Greece, which brings me to another tip that I would love to share with the audience today.
And because I was going to ask you, what's the first thing you do when you know you want to go to Greece? What does Rachel do? Because you're the expert.
Well, first I worry about how much it's going to cost.
Okay.
Because it's far away.
Yes.
It is not close to Portland.
Yes.
So if you want to travel somewhere far, there's a great tip that I would like to share, which is called the Greek Islands trick.
Okay.
So say you want to go all the way to the Greek Islands from Portland, Oregon, and you look at flights, and from PDX all the way to the island of Crete, to this airport that I was looking up 2 nights ago. The flights are $3,000. $3,000 is a lot of dollars.
That's a
Most of
lot.
us cannot afford that. So if you use the Greek Islands trick, what you're doing instead is you're not flying all the way to the final destination that's really far away. You're looking at the nearest large hub that would have better deals. In this case, it would be Athens, Greece. It's the capital city. You look at PDX to Athens, it's $1,000 instead. Then you just got to get yourself that final stretch from Athens to the island of Crete in this case. And there are a lot of cheap carriers in Europe. So that additional flight that I looked at for the dates that I was looking at was just $100. You end up spending $1,100 or $1,200 instead of $3,000. You still have to budget for it, yes, because it's far away. But this trick can help you in all sorts of scenarios. You can be looking at any far-flung destination, and you can use websites like RomeToRio.com.
This is a new website. I've never heard of this.
It's the best. It will tell you all the ways that you can get from your origin to where you want to go. So in the case of the Greek islands, being our example, it'll tell you if there are ferries that are available. If you take the car or the bus, how long it'll take and how much it might cost.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's not a new website. It's a new website to me. Sorry, I didn't make that clear. clear. And so are you booking that trip to Greece? Are you going?
I'm hopeful that I
Okay.
am booking that trip.
And
yeah.
if you have a family that you need to book with you, is there a way to make that cheaper? Do you buy individual tickets? Because I've heard that might be a thing, or because finding a 4-pack of tickets might be harder?
I mean, it is. It's always going to cost more the more people you have, but the best ways to get flight deals would be, again, to use that Goldilocks window, but also do things like subscribe to fare sales from your favorite airlines. You can subscribe to travel websites like going.com, Travel Zoo. They're going to let you know when there are deals available for you. Also, if you can be a bit flexible with both your dates and maybe even the destination, you can find much better deals. What that looks like is maybe you're not traveling on the busiest days on a weekend, you're traveling on a weekday instead.
So tell me more about that. What are the busiest days to travel?
The busiest days are Thursday, Friday, Sunday, Monday. So that
Okay.
encompasses business travelers and leisure travelers. So if you could fly on a Tuesday or a Wednesday or a Saturday, you're going to find a better deal because those are less
Oh.
popular days.
So start your trip on a less popular date.
Yeah, and all these different fare calendars on, say, Google Flight Search, you can kind of move the dates around and see when it's going to be cheaper. And you might tend to see a pattern and go, oh, yeah, it's cheaper if I fly on a Saturday.
And then how do you feel about booking with like a kayak or Expedia versus booking with the actual airline?
I'm really glad you asked. You should definitely book with the airline or with the travel rental agency. Even if you found a really great deal on something like Google Flights or Kayak, book directly with the provider. It gives you a lot more recourse if something changes. So maybe there's a mechanical issue, a schedule change, a weather delay. If you can actually call the airline or the car rental agency, you have a lot more passenger rights. There's tons of fine print on websites that are travel aggregators.
Yes, that actually did happen to me when I booked a trip to Europe with my daughters, and
no.
I didn't realize that I booked through one of those sites, and it was so much more of a hassle. So that is great advice right there. Okay, so if you want more information about Rachel, we're going to have a link to where you can find her. You'll find that on our website at KATU.com. Thanks, Rachel, so
Thank
much.
you.
And we'll be right back with more AM Northwest. Stay right there.